microphone. Oh, here we go.
Is it working?
That's working.
Oh, good. I couldn't hear him all night. I didn't know what was going on. So, first of all, before I get started, is this night not incredible? A week ago, Michael told me we had 100 and something people, and I don't know what this number is, but he doesn't know how to count. Because when we sat around and said, let's have a gala, we were hoping for 150 people. So I think we've blown it out of the water because of how many people that love Michael and Tempa. So let's give them a round. So before I get started, can y'all humor me for a second? Because I got the stage, right? And you're all looking at me. So I want to take this opportunity because I'm up here and I never get to do this. So I just want to tell everybody here how much I love my mom and dad. I love my sister and brother-in-law. And how much I love my wife. And she's so beautiful. And it's been the best 21 years of marriage. Now, thank you. Where's Jonathan? Where's Jonathan? Am I missing Jonathan? Hey, you know what you call that, Jonathan? Filling the love tank. I just filled it. I'm adding to it. I listened to his sermon. So I've got the pleasure and the honor to introduce Michael and Tempa tonight. But before I do, I kind of wanted to go through the special needs and treats story with you. So it is an incredible story with ups and downs, and it started right here at Graystone Church. So I met Michael right here on a Sunday. Now, if the chairs were here, I used to be pretty consistent and sit right about here. And Michael sat right across the aisle right about here. I didn't know him. I didn't know his name. I didn't know anything about him. But we either fist pumped each other or gave each other a hug every Sunday morning. And that's when I knew I was at the right church because it just felt like home. Now, lo and behold, I got talked into leading a small group here at Graystone. And Michael and Tempa were part of that small group. And it was a couple, so Terry and I led the group, and it was a couples group. So Michael started sharing his story about Bradley and their dreams and what they wanted to do, and they've already been kind of led to start special needs and treats. And I was just overwhelmed and impressed. So I went home. I said, God, I don't know what to do. Their story's incredible. If there's anything that I need to do to help this become a reality, just let me know. Speak to me and let me know what to do. So the next afternoon, I got home from work. I go to the mailbox. And I'm not kidding, guys. I had a $10,000 check just show up in the mail. Whoever had a $10,000 check show up in the mail? From the federal government. I went, why is the federal government sending me $10,000? And I found out there's this thing, if you're people that do taxes, there's a look-back tax. So I got this look-back tax, and I don't know. It didn't mean anything to me. It meant that God spoke, and this was his seed money to start special needs and treats. So we got together and gave Michael the money and said, man, this is a God thing. This is supposed to happen. And lo and behold, he's already working in Michael and Tempa and a whole lot of other people. So the next thing I know, we are in downtown Lawrenceville with a bakery serving the special needs and giving birthday cakes to the community. And I was like, man, this is awesome. So I'm done, right? Isn't that how it works? I'm done. This is great. It's going on. It's going great. Small group, I think if you remember, we went down and painted. So I said, we need some sweat equity with our small group. Let's do something. It's finished. And the next thing I know, Michael comes to me and says, Ken, I want you to be on the board. Oh, my God. Michael, I don't do boards. I don't like them. He says, well, I understand. I appreciate it. But I went home. Again, be careful what you pray for. I said, Lord, am I supposed to be on this board? Let me know. And so I accepted it, and I guess that opened the doors because now I'm on a Graystone board and a Repair and Hands board, and it's just the way it goes. But, man, we were off and running. So that's not the story. It's going great. The next thing we know, Michael calls up. We're on Downtown Square, and evidently they're going to triple or quadruple or 100 times their rent. And so that's our first little roadblock. We didn't know what to do, but Michael shared his vision about what he really thought special needs and treats could be. And the next thing we know, there's a warehouse, I don't know what you call it, but where we are now, he walked me through the place, and he goes, "What do you think about this, Ken?" I said, "Well, it looks pretty good. It's a dump. I don't know what we're going to do or how we're going to pay for it. How much money is this going to cost?" Well, this tells you, again, this community and the power of God is during that time, I think we put numbers to it. And in a short amount of time, the community came together with their donations of material and monetary. $750,000 basically just rushed in. So we were able to move in. The roof was donated. They completed it. It was great. And I think what happened is people's like special needs and treats is off and running. They're doing great. But then everybody just took a breath, right? Because all this money came in. Well, then it started to dry up a little bit, and special needs and treats has struggled for a year. So we got together in November, and Michael and Tempa are sitting there going, "I think we might have to shut the doors, guys." And a lot of y'all probably don't know this. And I asked him, I said, "Is it okay to say this?" He said, "Yeah, just tell your heart." So I was like, "Well, this can't happen." All board members going, "No, this has got to happen." So Metro said, "We're going to let you survive for 2 months. We're going to do what it takes because we're going to put an effort into this." And we sat around and came up with it and said, "Let's have a gala." I was like, "Okay, what do we do next?" I don't know. So I don't know if Jim and Melinda are here tonight, but they were instrumental in sitting down with us. They basically gave us the whole blueprint of how to run a gala. And I believe that's why it's so successful tonight, because they really helped. And it was fantastic. So can we give them a round of applause right now? I don't believe they're here because they had a family emergency, so pray for them, but they were absolutely instrumental. And then we raised money. My Rotary Club's here. Repairing Hands is over there. This is awesome. So I just want to tell you that for what Michael does, it's absolutely fantastic. And another reason that I can't let them close down. We got to support them because I'm addicted. I am. First of all, every time you go to a board meeting, I get a strawberry cupcake, right? And are these not the best cupcakes you've ever eaten? Yeah. And I don't know where else to get a crack dealer. I would lose my dealer. I got his number in my phone. If the police ever called, I'm going to lose my source, right? Can't lose the source. If you never had this, you need to did it, because you're going to be addicted to something. Be addicted to this crack corn. And I thought, Jimmy, crack corn, I don't care, because I'm going to eat this whole bag. But my sister's trying to break me of my habit. So I promised her this bag tonight. So, Michael, if you gave these bags away, I'm sorry, I already gave it to Teresa. So this is her bag. And so everybody here knows how great Michael is in Tempa. For somebody to have a job, I kind of relate him to when Jesus walking along the Sea of Galilee and looked at Andrew and said, "Follow me," and they dropped their nets. Michael and Tempa, they dropped their safety nets and started to follow God and his calling. There's no better person and way to live than that. And I'm just honored to be their friend. I love them to death, and I'm just happy to know them. So it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce Michael and Tempa Kohler. Am I by myself? Hey, there they are. Love you, brother. All right, and you get the microphone.
Wow. 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 Can y'all, I don't know how to follow that. Ken said everything, so I guess, let's eat, let's go. But no, Ken, thank you so much. You and your family. And I'm trying to see if I can not let you win that bet. You know what I'm talking about. But you and your family have been so instrumental in who we are, what we do, and just supported us from the beginning before it came. And now I see what the band talks about. I love the lights because I can't really see anything.
I was getting ready to say, Jonathan, now I know why your stomach hurts when you come up here every Sunday.
But actually, before we break into the story, there's a couple of things that I did want to go into. And first is, number one, thank all of you for being here.
Yes.
To look out here and see what we see is just amazing. It's proof that God can do immeasurably more than us, just like Ephesians 3:20 says. And it's just to look around the room and see all the faces, all the people who come out here to support us. But I'm going to call up a couple things. But before I do, all this that happened this is amazing to me. Last night, from today to today, just to see how this place transformed. And, we have a small board, but it's an impactful board.
Yes, it is.
And there are a couple of people, Doug and Amy Freeland, where are you at? I'd like you to stand up, if you would, please. And Sandy, oh, you are standing up, right, Doug? Doesn't he look like Bruce Willis? I saw that the other night, but he looks like Bruce Willis. If you'd stand up for a moment, and then Mary and Sandy Hastings. These guys, time, effort, money, you name it, are just phenomenal for us. And they're like superheroes.
Yeah.
So actually, Clancy, I think you got a little something, right? There's Clancy. If you would, please, I got something for y'all, just a little something to kind of prove. These are superheroes, and the superhero's not complete without their cape. There we go, Wonder Woman, Superman. But you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Yes, thank you so much.
Words cannot express the love we have for you guys. But without further ado, though, what I would like to draw the attention to is we've got a lot of different God stories that are last minute, just enough, just in time, like 58 seconds left before we closed on our building, but we might get to that later. But the night before our invitations were to go out in the mail, we really didn't have a presenting sponsor, so at our board meeting, Metro Waterproofing, we were like, okay, you're the presenting sponsor because you guys are all in. So we put them on, sent it to the printers, had that all done, and then I go to close out and I had about 53 emails, and one of my emails, I just kind of browsed through them going, man, it's late, I gotta get home, and I saw presenting sponsor. And so I said, what's this all about? So I opened it up, and it was from RAC Properties of Athens, Inc., and it said, hey, Michael and Tempa, this is Robert and Cindy Scott with RAC Properties. Just wanted to let you know we'd be honored to be your presenting sponsor. Here's a copy of the check. Here's a copy of the form. It's going in the mail in the morning. And I'm like, wow. Again, just in time. Can I catch the printers? I called Ken, and I said, dude, I said you were our presenting sponsor. What do I do now? And he said, they paid the money. Put them there. Drop us down where we belong. So, and then called Katie. I think she cried with me a little bit. I don't cry or anything. But, and then called the other board members, and we were all just so blessed. So what I'd like to do at this time is ask Miss Cindy to please join us up on the stage to take a few moments to share to you our, what did they say? Just a word from our sponsor,
yes.
RAC Properties. So Cindy, if you would come up, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, it is bright up here. Okay, I think they turned the lights up from when I was up here a few moments ago. Just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank Tempa and Michael. Just thank you for what you do. And my name is Cindy Scott. and I'm the Vice President of RAC Properties. Although I'm the Vice President, it's really my husband who is the passion and the driving force behind our company. And what we do is we find houses that need renovated, we fix them up, and then we sell them to new families so new wonderful memories can be made. We have about 30 employees at any given time. Last year, we purchased, renovated, and sold 110 houses in 1 year. So we do a lot of that. But you all did not come here tonight to hear me talk about how great I think our company is or how great I think my husband is. You came here for inspiration, and so that's what I'm going to try to do for you tonight. Jeremiah 29:11 says, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. We all have I can't believe I'm here moments. They're both good and bad. Some of the good ones that you might have would be a wonderful family vacation or a spectacular holiday morning where you look at your loved ones or the wonderful sunset and you think, oh, life is perfect. It just can't get any better than this, and I can't believe I'm here. But sometimes we have some of those bad moments, and those moments can include where you've done everything correctly, you've eaten, you're exercising, and you get that diagnosis that you don't want, or you are working hard at your job and you've been laid off and you're wondering why. It can be a moment where you find out of a diagnosis of your child and you think, how am I going to get through this? How are things going to work out? What is my child's life going to look like? We all have those moments. And speaking here tonight is one of those moments for me, because you see, as a youth, no one would have predicted that I would have been in a position to be a presenting sponsor of anything. In fact, as a child, I would have qualified for one of your cakes. I grew up in poverty, the kind of poor where you know you're poor. I grew up in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, and I had anywhere between 13 to 17 family members living with me at any given time. I know poverty. At 17, found myself pregnant, unmarried, and I was kicked out of my home and went to live with a friend at 8.5 months pregnant. Everyone had opinions about whether I should give my child up for adoption or whether I should have an abortion. And I did do a lot of prayer and soul seeking during that time. And I really felt that God was telling me to keep my child, and I did. I had no reason to think that things would work out. I had no plan. I just had what I felt was God's assurance that things were going to be okay. Now, this is not in the handbook of 100 ways to succeed in life. It's not a success story 101. After I had had my daughter, my future husband, Robert, and I started dating. Our first date was on a Monday. We were engaged on Friday. 5 months later, we got married, and 4 months later, I found myself pregnant with what would be our second child, our son. A few years later, we found out that our wonderful daughter, Jessica, had learning disabilities, so that presented its own challenges. There is absolutely nothing special about us. We have no connections. We did not attend the best colleges, and we certainly did not have that proverbial silver spoon from our mouth. What we did have was a God who loved us, a core family who stuck together, and the ability to do a lot of hard work. My husband spent 23 years in the Navy, and we moved approximately 16 times, depending on how you count moves. We were always focused on our goals, and we changed our goals as they were needed. We always strived to move forward as a family. We had tried to make wise decisions at all times, and sometimes we were very successful in those wise decisions, and sometimes we were not successful in those decisions. I find that sometimes when I'm standing in front of the special needs and treats counter, and I'm trying to decide to take or not take that third cupcake, I make the wrong decision and I take the third cupcake, because you always take the third cupcake. Today, I'm still very happily married to my husband. In fact, every year on our anniversary, he looks me lovingly in the eye and he says, honey, being married to you feels just like 10 minutes. Beautiful, huh? Then he says, 10 minutes underwater. One of these years, I'm gonna tell him, you wanna go for 15? He's my best friend, and there's no one I would rather do our life with. We have 2 wonderful children, our daughter Jessica, our son Kyle. I have a wonderful daughter-in-law and an incredible squishy granddaughter who we love. And tonight I'd like to encourage you. The good you do does make a difference. It really does. Some of the people that you help today will be able to pay it forward in the future. If I did not have the experiences that I had had growing up, special needs and treats would not be near and dear to my heart today. So just keep that in mind, that it does come around. I may not have known how my life would end up, and nobody may have been able to predict where my life would end up, but the Lord knew where I would be today. He gave me wonderful people around me, great tools to use, and now I have wonderful opportunity to pay it back. God knew the plans that he had for me, and he has given me his hope for his future. Thank you for all listening to me. Good evening. Thanks. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, Cindy, Robert, RAC Properties.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of that. And yes, ma'am.
I really did forget it. We have a foundation called Clover Foundation, and we have decided that tonight, any of the monies that you guys donate into those wonderful little envelopes in there, up to $5,000, we're going to match it. So there's about 250 of you here today, 230. So if each of you give about $21, $22 a person, you can raise $5,000. We'll match it. That's an extra $10,000 to them tonight. So just encouraging you.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you likewise to all of our sponsors, our 2 Electrum sponsors, Metro Waterproofing, and then Rector Reader in Lofton.
Thank you so much.
Then we have our silver sponsors with Hermes Realty, and then we've got the Rotarians of Loganville, and over here we have Gwinnett Medical Foundation,
so much.
as well as Thornapple Industries, which it's Thornapple Industries, Thornapple Pens, Thornapple, I don't know, there's like 6 different ones. I'm not sure what all's going on there, but we love y'all, and thank you so much, because it just means a lot to us. Before we actually get into a bit of the story, we do have a few little notes that we'd like to go over and just talk about. So if you would just indulge me a little bit. If you kind of hold that one there, honey. We just wanted to share for, most of you know us, but those who know us well will get some of this. Those who don't, hopefully this will share a little bit about who we are. So this shouldn't take long. Everybody who knows Tempa knows how much she dislikes sweet tea.
Everybody who knows Michael knows he's very shy.
It's true. It's true. Those that know Tempa know that she likes to stay up extremely late. What is it, 8:30, hon?
Yeah, 8:30. Mike is very much an introvert.
So, and we all know with all of her service doing the coffee bar here, how much Tempa loves to drink coffee.
Michael never shows emotion, never.
Yeah, be careful what you pray for. Night's not over yet. You still might win that bet, Ken. Let's see here. Tempa never likes to talk about her grandchildren.
Mike dislikes hugs very much.
Can't stand them. Tempa loves math. She's great at it, too.
Michael has a fear of public speaking.
Obviously. Let's see here. Tempa despises Mexican food.
And Michael loves the Patriots.
Oh, that's where I draw the line. No. Sorry, Chris. Patriots suck. Go Chiefs. Where you at, Dan? All right. Bradley? Go Chiefs. So, actually, no, we just wanted to do that because we've been to a couple of fundraisers, and I don't like it when the first 3 letters are removed from fundraiser. Fundraisers should be fun. It's about fun. Let's have some fun. Hopefully you're having some fun. Food was great. Thank you so much to Foggy Bottom Barbecue.
Woo, Foggy Bottom.
Awesome food. I think it was good. Hopefully there's a little bit left. I'm kind of hungry, but we'll get there. There's so many people to thank. Our entire board, all of you, just everything like that. Our children, our grandchildren, my mom who flew into town just so she could work her rear end off to help us get this thing ready.
Thank you, Penny. Where are we at?
Where's my mama? There's my mama. I love you, Mom. She even stayed at the bakery till like 12:15 last night to get a few things done before we, got done. Then I told them to go home and I'd be there all night. But a few things we'd like to talk about just to kind of give you a background on us, who we are, for those who don't really know us that well. A little bit of the story about how God works in people's lives. This is a God story. It's not about us. That's not about us. Every one of those was a lie. But they were fun lies, so forgive me, Lord. But those are lies, and it's not about us. This evening's not about us. Yes, we're focusing on some special individuals, which I still see a lot of envelopes back there. Hey, there's an envelope back there, might have a 2 on it. That's only $2. But we're going to try and clear that board this evening. It'd be awesome if that happens, but it's about the God story and just how he works and the amazing things he does, like this evening, through people that hopefully are just obedient. If there's anything I try and take credit for, is that I'm trying to be obedient to what God has called us for. So just to kind of back up, we actually went to kindergarten together.
Yeah.
I think she was AM, I was PM, probably because I don't like mornings, but I don't remember.
Very true.
And then we were married. Actually, before I get to the married part, I was in the lunchroom at our high school. I didn't see her again. We went to kindergarten, and then I didn't see her again until my sophomore year of high school. I went to a private Christian school up through 9th grade, and in 10th grade, I went to a public school, and they made the mistake of saying that tests were 70% of your grade, so hey, ace the test, pass the class. So I didn't do a lot of stuff like I was supposed to. So I was kind of the rebel. But I was sitting in the lunchroom, not on my lunch period, somebody else's. Sorry, Mom, there might be some things come out you didn't know about. But she walked through the door, and I heard an audible voice, which scared me to death, because this was not me, and it said, "That's the girl you're going to marry." Not doing it. And no, you haven't. And it's kind of. I started looking around, I'm like, what? Who said that? That's the girl you're going to marry. She didn't know me from Adam. Matter of fact, she didn't really want to have much to do with me. It took me 6 months kind of chasing her, this, that, and the other, till I started taking the same classes she took. I was stalking. I started going to class. I actually started getting better grades. And then eventually, we got the hookup. She couldn't date. She was raised Pentecostal. I was raised somewhat Baptist.
Baptist-costal.
And so she couldn't date, especially someone like me, so we didn't date, we snuck around. But anyway, we got married at 17, yep. And I think...
Our lovely daughter is standing in the back.
There we go, right there.
Oh.
Yeah, married at 17. We had, 2 people in the wedding? The photographer was better dressed than my best man.
Yep.
My best man had to borrow the photographer's jacket to take pictures. It was kind of crazy. And then in we're going to fast forward a little bit. I'm not going to go from kindergarten all the way up. In 1985, our extremely smart and talented and awesome daughter was born.
Yep.
And there's a picture now who has now blessed us with, we have a great son-in-law who actually asked me if he could marry my daughter. And he said, but I won't ask her until I got a good job and I got my own house. And he got a job at Georgia Power, got a house, then he married my daughter, and now we have 3 beautiful grandchildren. And that was 1985, this is now. This was actually just last week.
Yep.
So from that point, we'll fast forward a little bit to 1990. And Bradley, I think you suggested this one. This is when Bradley was born. Now, Bradley said, you're going to show my baby picture, aren't you, Dad? And I said, yes, we are. See, he's doing it for me, brother.
Yeah.
It's all right, buddy.
That's okay,
I'm not going to make you come up here and speak. And then here's Bradley, as most of y'all know him.
Yes.
Out in the front, I don't know where he got that kind of stuff from, but out in the parking lot, being him and what have you. And then it was 7 years later, in 1997, that we knew when he was born that there was something wrong. He wasn't quite
I knew the
same.
minute they handed him to me. I knew that there was something going on. Just wasn't quite sure what. And it took 7 years to find that diagnosis. That was a very long 7 years, but we finally figured it out.
Yeah, in 1997, we had, it was a trying time. You know, I tell people we had, 7 years of honeymoon, 4 years of hell. The rest has been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But in 97, he was diagnosed with Fragile X. We had gone, we couldn't quite figure it out. He would scream everywhere we went. He wouldn't talk a lot. A lot of different things that, you would think neurotypical children, like Cindy, you mentioned, you've got this plan that you're going to have kids, you're going to have a regular life, and then all of a sudden you have a child that's got special needs, and it's like, okay, wow, what exactly am I supposed to do with this? We didn't know then what God was setting up for now. And so we had someone say, have you ever had him tested for Fragile X syndrome? And we looked at each other and like, oh, what's that? What do you do? It's a simple DNA test. They draw some blood. Started that. So on the way home, we stopped by the library. Tempa checked out every single book she could find on Fragile X.
One book.
Was
they
it
had
this one?
3 books. 2 of them were gone. I got the last one. Started reading it, and I'm like, immediately started crying. I said, someone has followed me around for 7 years and wrote a book, because he was textbook. I didn't need to wait for the test to come back.
So we knew the diagnosis before it actually came back positive. And for those of you who don't know what Fragile X is, it's a genetic disorder. It's on the X chromosome. And it causes everywhere from very severe mental affliction to very moderate. Bradley's a social butterfly. He's very high functioning, so he's very moderate. But there are some Fragile X that are self-mutilation, don't speak, and very challenging. So it runs the gamut. And it is transferred by genetics. Tempa is a carrier, so she has a good X and a bad X. And then her father passed it to her, because as a male, if I pass the X, you got a girl. If we pass a Y, we got a boy. And one of that 4 years of hell I talked about was me being a total jerk off. I'm just going to share this. I'm open. I'm transparent. And I was in that stage of, it was her fault. You did it to him, and you passed the X. Fortunately, she forgave me. And we moved on. And here we are today. But it was Fragile X syndrome, and affects many different children.
It's the second largest known cause of mental impairment next to Down syndrome, but most people have still never heard of it. So trying to bring awareness to that as well, and trying to get testing done and different things like that. But it is becoming more prominent, and people have heard a little bit more about it now.
So in 97, the diagnosis, and then the hurt, the turmoil, the struggles, and what have you, God intervened again, and the company I worked for was relocating here to Georgia in 1998. And it was a time that God knew we needed a fresh start. So we relocated here to Georgia in '98 because of my company. I worked for a company called Daewoo before it became Doosan and before there was like Bobcat involved, so Bob Sue or Do Bob or something. But a little Korean company, like 17th largest company in the world at that time or something like that. But I had awesome opportunities, but I was the hatchet guy that got to travel around the country and shut down the different businesses and move them here to Georgia. Not too many people liked me. But anyway, we moved here in '98 and started doing the research before we moved and started calling around. And the reason we chose Gwinnett County was because of their special needs programs for Bradley. So that's what brought us to Gwinnett County in 1998. And when we moved here, we really knew no one.
We knew no one.
We had no
I
family.
told Mike, I said, I'm going to go to the grocery store, and I'm not going to run into anybody I know. I mean, it's so weird to do that. It's kind of like when you go on vacation, and sometimes, you're not typically going to see people. And now, 21 years later, we can't go anywhere that we don't know somebody, and I think that's awesome. I mean, it's so cool that we get to see people. I mean, and I know almost everybody in this room, some way, shape, or form, and I think that's awesome. And my verse through this whole time leading up to this has been Ephesians 3:20. Now, to him who is able to do immeasurably more than we ask or imagine according to his power that is at work within us. And God can do so much more than we can ever do. So it's just amazing to me how many friends and people that we have in our lives now. It's just amazing to me, and I love it.
Yep. And all the time it was God working. Now, during this whole time, we weren't churched people. We didn't go to church because we didn't have the same background. We didn't have home churches, what have you. So we spent several years unchurched. It was, I think, we started here 2011. It was 2008 because it was about the same time that we started planning, okay, Bradley's going to be 22 in a while. And at 22, special needs age out of county programs. There's no more county supported, so he couldn't ride the bus and go do like Strive and Adapt and a lot of these programs that work with special needs. So it's like, what are we going to do? But at the same time, we also kept getting invited to a little church in a warehouse called Graystone that
By Bradley.
our neighbor across the street, the Kimmels, who are not here this evening, but their son kept inviting Bradley, got him to go into church. Dustin Maddox, you're here.
Yes, sir.
I love you, brother.
We love you, Dustin. Thank you for taking an interest in Bradley. That meant a lot to us and a lot to him.
And what happened from that was Bradley got into church before we did, and he kept telling us every Sunday, you need to come to church. You need to come to church. You need to come to church. You need to get God.
And if you guys know Bradley at all and you miss a Sunday, he is going to call you out.
You know. Mark, you're out there too. I think you're wearing a jacket because when you got out of the car, Bradley came and said, put on a jacket, dude.
Because if you're not here on a Sunday, he'll be
and if you're not here,
why were
you'll
you not
know
here?
it. You'll hear
why
about it.
were you not here?
But that was all in '08. So we started like trying to make plans. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And she's been baking and cake decorating since she was 13 as a hobby and out of the house and what have you, word of mouth and friends. So she's, that's the God-gifted talent for her. And we were like, well, let's open a bakery and you and Bradley can work there. But even though my last name's Kohler, I'm not Kohler Plumbing.
I keep asking him.
Or Kohler
plumbing,
Engines.
Something.
Although when I did get to go to Wisconsin, they treated me like royalty. I didn't mind. But I'm not independently wealthy. So I'm like, I don't know what to do, honey. What do we do? And then it was a couple years later, 2010, when...
I was watching TV one day. I think it was Oprah, but I cannot remember. But I was watching an interview, and this lady was interviewing a mom who had been married, and they had 2 kids, and they used to help support a local food bank and homeless shelter. And circumstances changed in her life, and she was now receiving services from this same food bank and homeless shelter. And the interviewer found out that it was the little boy's birthday. And, she said, well, what do you want for your birthday? And, you would think he might say a bike or a video game or something. He said, all I want is a birthday cake. And God pierced my heart that day. And I remember calling him, and I said, I know what I'm supposed to do. I said, I am supposed to bake cakes, and I am supposed to give them away. He's like, great, how are we going to do that? I said, I don't have any idea how I'm going to do it. I said, but I know that this is what I'm supposed to do.
But with that, it kind of started turning the wheels of, okay, that's something different, you know, baking cakes for kids who can't afford them. But how do we do this? How do we do that? And then we started talking about, you know, come 2012, during that time period, you know, I was blessed to be, I kind of got suckered in like most people do, kind of like you got suckered into the board, and now you're on like 5, 10, 15, or whatever it is. I think all you do is board meetings anymore, Ken. But I started a little baseball program. It happened to be at a South Gwinnett girls softball field
Well,
for
you didn't
special needs.
start it,
I didn't
you
start it. I started taking Bradley there. Sorry, that was a misstatement. Don't take me wrong. Thank you, dear. I started going so my son could play baseball. I think Tori's back there.
Yep,
Tori's in a
Tori's
wheelchair
here.
back
Anne
there.
Marie is
and
here.
Anne Marie, she was on Brad's team, but they started before us, but then we started over there, and I was just a dad wanting to see his kid play ball because, you know, hey, he can play baseball and t-ball and stuff like that. And then they moved me to assistant coach and then to coach, and then somehow I got swindled into baseball commissioner and then assistant director of the board. And lo and behold, through those 3 to 4 years, then we moved to Bay Creek Park. At my pinnacle of that segment, we had 208 special needs ball players on 20 different teams. And the conversations at the field were always the same. What do we do when our kids age out of county programs? Okay, if you're fortunate enough to have a high-functioning child, there's opportunities. Kroger, Publix, Ingalls, there's a lot of companies that hire, but they're hiring the 20% higher functioning. What about the kiddos that are in wheelchairs, walkers, that are nonverbal, limited motor skills, need aids, might need assistance doing just about everything that we take for granted, whether it's walking, talking, taking your own bath, using the restroom yourself, etc. So that's how the nonprofit vision kind of came about was, hey, it's not just Bradley. We got all these families that are facing the same thing. So let's combine, let's look at this thing we knew nothing about, this 501c3 nonprofit world. How do we do this? And during that journey, it kind of, 2013, so we're talking about it a lot, trying to figure it out, knew nothing about it. We had this great vision that we believe God laid on our hearts. And then in 2013, as Ken mentioned in the opening, now we've converted over to this church here, this campus from the warehouse. It's grown. I was getting involved, doing this experiencing God stuff and volunteering. She was running coffee bar. I'm doing parking team, and we're just, loving it. It's home. It's family. And for about a year and a half, I'd been telling her, we need to join a couples group. I don't want to do that. I got my women's group,
Well, he wanted to join one on Sunday night, and him and Bradley were doing a Sunday night at Kenny Rogers' house. Yes, there is Kenny Rogers. That's his real name.
Not the singer.
Not the singer. But they did a couple men's group on Sunday night, and I said, Mike, I don't want to interrupt that. I said, that's something you and Bradley get to do, and I said, you need to continue doing that. And he said, let's join this group. He said, sometimes I'll go with Bradley, sometimes I'll come to the group. And so we joined. And plug in for Graystone in any church, join a small group. It will change your life. It will change your life. You will meet people that God is wanting to put in front of you
Exactly.
to do something within your life. Because we met Ken and Terry Strickland. We met Missy and Dave Call. And
Jason
and Becky, and Mike Stevens, and
Chris
so
and
many.
Keisha. It goes on and
It goes
on and on.
So many wonderful people we've met, and it changed our life dramatically. And so small groups. Yes,
Oh yeah,
small groups.
small groups do change your life. And Jonathan, there's our plug. Small groups are awesome. Thank you so much
Yes.
for what you do for our church. My mentor. We've prayed together. I've cried. You didn't cry so much. That's me. But when we had those planning periods, and I'm in your office with Tempa, and we're throwing all this stuff out there, and you're drawing circles all over the board. He goes like, dude, time out. Focus. God's got this. And he did. But that was 2013. We joined a small group, and then some crazy stuff just started happening. I'm at work one day, and I'd been offered a much higher position with my company that would take me to right at a six-figure income.
We've never had that kind of money.
Yeah.
We made $5,000 the first year we were
God
married.
doesn't think
So
I can handle that
we
very well.
understand that completely.
But the 401k expenses, just toys and all that, and I think it was a test. And it was also a case where we had done everything we thought we could, and I got down on my knees one day because they had offered me this position and I had to give them an answer. And in my office, it's not like I threw down a fleece, but I said, okay, God, if this is really what you want us to do, what do I do about this job? And about 20 minutes later, I get a phone call from her.
I said, you are never going to believe what we got in the mail. And his exact words were, what, jury duty? A bill? He said, I don't know. I said, no, we got our 501c3 status. Because that's what he was praying for. He said, God, if this is going to happen,
Show me a sign.
you have to make it happen because
We
can't make the government give us this, nonprofit status. And it came
And I
during
said,
that time.
okay. So I went into the president's office of our company, and I said, I know I can do the job. I appreciate you offering me the job. However, God has laid it on our hearts for us to do what we do today. Explained what we wanted to do, what we wanted to accomplish, and I fully expected to be told, really, there's your box, pack it up, get out. Instead, someone who I'd never known in this fashion said, he said, can I pray for you? Reached across his desk, took my hands, and prayed. And I'm like, wow, more God stuff. And we're skipping over so much. I'm sorry, God, but there's so much to say, and I'd keep you all here till tomorrow
And it's 8:30.
10 o'clock. Oh. Normally I have Jeopardy music
I'm
going.
his timekeeper even
oh,
at
wow,
small
sorry,
group.
guys.
Yeah.
All right, so, oh my. Not that I'm a talker or anything. So anyway, long story, less long. He said, how are we going to fix this then? And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll train this person, that person, that person. You hire somebody for this, we'll do this, we'll do that, da-da-da-da-da, and I'll phase myself out. And he said, sounds like a plan, make it happen. Then I left in 2014. Full God story, but long stories, less long. On January 23rd, 2014, we signed papers to acquire a small bakery on the square. That happens to be my mom's birthday as well. And thus, Special Needs and Treats got its first brick and mortar. And the whole job thing, once we opened, it was about 5 months into it, I started doing more at the bakery, and our plan was that we would, I'd come in at the bakery in the morning, go to work during the day, come back in the evening, help out. She'd work there all day with Bradley, and we'd do it just the three of us.
Just me and Bradley during the day. I don't know what I was thinking.
And so anyway, my boss basically kept me on payroll for 6 months with insurance while I worked there full time to get things started and what have you. And during that time, we immediately realized, oh no, we can't do this. So approached the board about, and Ken wasn't on the board at that time, but we approached the board about, there's a young man who worked at the place that we acquired called Austin Culp. And we do have a few brief words from him, and then I'd like to ask him to come up and say a couple of things. So if you check out this video from Austin, we'll try and speed this up. Sorry, Sean.
I make sure everything goes right back in the kitchen. I've got a couple special needs adults who help me in the kitchen with baking. I've had a chance to get to show them the ropes, and they honestly do more of the baking than I do nowadays. I mostly just do the paperwork behind the baking, and they're the ones who do all the actual mixing of batters, dipping out cakes and cupcakes. So when I first started working here, it was actually just Tempa and myself and whatever volunteers happened to show up that day. But as we started being able to bring more and more of the people onto payroll, I got to work with bring more people into the baking aspect as well as other aspects of the kitchen. And it was really interesting for me. I hadn't actually had any significant exposure to the special needs community before I started working here. I'd known a lot of people with medical conditions, and so I'd always equated special needs to being a medical condition, something that had definitive symptoms, signs, things that it did to you. And so I never fully appreciated what it meant to be on the spectrum. And the fact that it is a spectrum, you know, just because somebody has some diagnosis, some disability, I've learned it means almost nothing as to what they can do or what they can't do. I've worked with several different people who all have the same quote-unquote diagnosis, and the ways that it affects them is completely different for each one. You know, it's honestly, people have things that they're good at and things that they're bad at, and all that I've learned about special needs is it just sort of exaggerates those. There are things that they struggle with more than other people, but there are things that they excel at so much more, and it's been really interesting for me to watch. And so it's really interesting for me to have to learn that lesson of it really doesn't make a difference, because we've also had people who aren't special needs who worked here, and I've had to learn the same way that, you know, they have deficiencies that I wouldn't expect. So honestly, working with the special needs, the not special needs, it all sort of blurs together after a while. And so it's been really interesting, really humbling, and one of those perspective things that I had to learn to kind of move past the, yes, there's a diagnosis. No, it doesn't mean anything you think it does. So one of the things that I think most people overlook is that the ability to have a job is a really important part of people's lives. And I think most people are so used to, I have to go to work, I have to earn a paycheck, I have to come home, that they forget how important it is to have that productivity in your life. Not just having a job, not just earning a paycheck, not just being able to do something that helps other people, but to be able to do all the things at once, to be able to do something that helps somebody else and to see the results and to get that paycheck is very important. And if you look at the special needs who have had a chance to come in, even the volunteers, even the ones who aren't bringing home a paycheck yet that are just starting out, to see how excited they are just to be doing a job, to see someone get excited that they can fold boxes for 3 hours, to see someone get excited to wipe down tables and to reorganize food coloring bottles, to be able to see someone get excited over that really reminds us how important it is for someone to have a job, and that so many people are expected, well, you get a Social Security check, and that's all you need. You don't need to work. It's fine. We don't need to expect anything of you, is really selling so many people short of that opportunity. And I think that opportunity is really important for people. Even again, if they're just volunteers, if they're just coming in, the ability to see and do things, and to especially when they do get that first paycheck, to see themselves getting paid for what they love to do. I think that's really important for everyone.
Wow. Awesome. And just to kind of bring an update, evidently we slipped a little beyond our schedule slightly, so we're kind of shifting things down a little bit. Hopefully that's okay with y'all. Just so we can, but we're going to wrap up my portion primarily. I don't have an earbud, so I couldn't hear Sean telling me, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. But I would like to introduce Austin, put a face with a name, our first paid employee.
Hey, so
You've noticed the running theme tonight? That's the whole God puts you where you want to be, kind of whether or not you actually had any idea or plans of being there. So why break from that theme? So 10 years ago, I had absolutely no idea that this would be the capacity I was in. I excelled at academics, did really well in high school. I got accepted into the honors program at a university. I entered college as a sophomore because of all my AP credits. I got 2 months into college, and I got expelled for having seizures. So I got pulled into the chief of medical staff at the university I was at, and she basically spent the next 15 minutes explaining that, no, college isn't for you, you're a medical liability, you're a financial liability, you're a danger to yourself and others, and basically anything you do, you bring risk to by existing. So I got to spend the next 4 years trying to find a job with no job experience because I spent most of high school in high school or being sick, and I couldn't drive, aforementioned seizures, and every time I'd go to an interview, everything would be going fine, and then for whatever reason, oh, why don't you have any resume experience? Oh, why don't you drive? Something would come up and the medical conditions would be brought up, and that was always the end of the interview. They never said anything directly, but it turns out that, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Well, we'll contact you back. It got to the point where they had a help needed sign at the Salvation Army thrift store for employees and volunteers. And I said, hey, look, I need resume experience. I want to volunteer. And they're like, yeah, no, that sounds great. Tell us about yourself. And then the medical stuff came up, and they're like, oh, yeah, our insurance will go up if we bring you on. So we don't need your free labor. So I did that for about 4 years. I ended up going to culinary school. Not something I had thought I would do, but I wanted to go to college. I still wanted the college experience, and it had to be somewhere that I wasn't allowed to stay on dorms because the university I was at basically put a ban on me staying at a dorm in any university system in Georgia because of the medically unstable label they put on me. And so I went to Gwinnett Tech, and they had a good culinary program, and I liked it. And so I ended up at an interview for a small bakery in downtown Lawrenceville with a woman named Suzanne. And I got through the entire interview, and my medical stuff didn't come up once. And at the end of it, I was like, I should probably mention this. And her response was, well, if that becomes a problem, we'll address it at that point. Which, to me, was shocking. The idea that, wait a second, you mean that this little piece of information, my medical information, isn't immediately a turnoff? And that's when I knew, okay, well, I guess the culinary route, this is where God wants me to be. So I worked there for just over a year, and then I heard, hey, she was wanting to spend more time with her kids. They had all gotten married, and so she was selling the bakery. And I'm in the back of my head going like, okay, I've been married for less than a year now, and I get to go through that 4-year job search again. Slight panic set in, and at that point, that was where God set it upon the hearts of these two wonderful people and set it up so that they said, hey, we need help, and it just so happens that we've chosen you, which this was, you approached me, what was it, 3 days before you opened, I think? 2-3 days before you opened?
And he didn't share with us any of the medical issues.
Yeah, to clarify, I didn't know them at all. They really didn't know me. I think, Tempa, you would come to the bakery 2-3 times to see how it worked, and I guess God had put it on her heart that I like that guy. I'm not questioning it.
I actually had a 300 cake pop order coming up, and he's really good at cake pops.
Yeah. She said, I can't do this, but he can. Let's hire him.
It was actually hilarious. It was about a month in when I was like, oh yeah, by the Tempa, I'm not feeling well today. If I collapse on the floor, that's perfectly normal. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
could have told us this before.
It's been an interesting 5 years with this one, let me tell you.
So that's how I ended up in this job. You saw in the video I spoke about I had no connection with the special needs community, and that learning experience has been amazing for me, but it's also something that I realized isn't really all that different from the exact experience I went through. These are people who have talents, and they also have this label on them. And that label, regardless of what their talents are, regardless of what they're good at, regardless of what they love, regardless of their passions, that label is all that people want to look at. And they look at this label and they say, oh, well, you have this disability. You know, you can earn your Social Security. You're being funded for by the government. You're probably living with your parents. We don't expect you to be independent. We don't expect you to pay for bills. We don't expect anything of you. And what they miss is, our slogan is, everyone needs to be needed. And the big element of that is, when no one expects anything of you, there's nothing there anymore. There's nothing to accomplish because no one has set expectations even at the lowest level. You mean my expectation is to sit at home, maybe send out 1 million resumes, go to interviews, and not get a job because, oh yeah, I qualify for disability because of these 3 lines. Oh, you have atrial fibrillation, you have that more than twice every 6 months. Cool, you qualify for disability. Sign up for it, get a check. Don't worry about getting a job. And that's just such a meaningless existence. And to be said that because you've got a piece of paper that says this is how you are and that's the life you're supposed to live is absurd. And so to have these people, not just special needs hiring, but to be able to set that example, we've had other individuals come to us and say, hey, I see what you're doing. I see this example. We want to do what you're doing. We've seen how it works for you. We would love to. We're not a nonprofit, but we would love to bring more special needs adults in working with us. And that, I feel, is one of the biggest impacts we had. We had pretty early on, Sprouts Farmers Market approached us. And they said, hey, you've got this waiting list. Have them contact us. And they hired 4 people. And that's not a lot of people. We have a waiting list of 184, but if there's so many companies, you know, you drive down Scenic, how many businesses are there? If every one of those businesses hired 1 part-time special needs adult to sit behind a counter, restock shelves, fold boxes, label, there's something for everyone. The impact that would make. So that's been my big takeaway from this, just the opportunities that have been created, not just here, but at other places by seeing what we do, has made such an impact in so many people's lives. And I want to thank you guys for doing it and God for putting it on your hearts to do it.
Thanks, Austin. All right. We're going to fast forward from our first employee to what the program truly was about. And at this time, those that don't know, we have like a Cakes for Kiddos out there. We try and provide cakes for kids in the community that can't afford them. That's the true heart of what she saw in that vision. At $9 a cake, foster kids, DFACs, there's like 19 partner agencies, but we can answer questions later. You can look at stuff on our website and what have you. But our first partner was actually Southeast Co-op with Miss Laura Drake. And what I'd like to do now is just have you a brief look at Laura and then ask Laura to come up and just introduce herself.
Hi there, my name is Laura Drake and I am the director of the Southeast Gwinnett Cooperative Ministry. And it is my honor and privilege to speak to you on behalf of Special Needs and Treats Bakery. As director of the Southeast Gwinnett Co-op, we see a lot of folks that come through that are struggling. And it is such a joy to be able to offer them the lavish love of a birthday cake for their child. The majority of who we serve are single mamas. and some single dads, and they have trouble paying their light bill, much less having a birthday for their kids. And as parents, we all know how important that is. So what a joy when we're sitting with someone and we see it's their child's birthday, to be able to offer them a cake from a bakery that is custom made for their kiddo with the name on there. It is such a wonderful experience, and I'm just so very grateful to Tempa and to Michael and to all the folks that make it possible. I know you know somewhat because you get to see it when they pick it up, but we have the honor of offering this precious gift, and we're just so grateful. So not only has Special Needs and Treats been so generous with providing birthday cakes, anytime that we have experienced a great surge in need and our supplies might be running low, I'll look on Facebook and there will be Tempa asking for folks to bring canned goods for the co-op, and that's just very touching to me. It is hard to believe that over the years that the bakery has provided over 1,200 certificates to the co-op, just to our co-op alone, on behalf of kiddos in the community. And not only do they provide certificates for us, they'll even drop off frozen cakes for those mamas and daddies that may not have the gas money to drive up to the bakery and pick up the cake. So that's always a blessing for someone to leave with a cake in their hand as well. And we're just hoping that by spreading the word about how much this ministry means in our community, that other folks will recognize the worth of this place and that they will be drawn in, and that this bakery will just bust at the seams, and that the Lord will continue to do great and mighty things through this place.
Wow. And again, I'd just like to put a face with a name, Miss Laura Drake.
Which one do you want me to say? Hey, y'all. I wrote down what I was going to say, so I keep it little. So, good evening. My name is Laura Drake, and I bring you warm greetings from the Southeast Gwinnett Cooperative Ministry, hereinafter referred to as the Co-op. For those of you who are not aware of what the Co-op is, we are a local food pantry that expresses the love of Christ to our neighbors who find themselves lacking adequate resources to provide for their households. Our motto is satisfying two hungers, the hunger of the stomach, but more importantly, the hunger of the heart. I met Tempa one day years ago when we were still serving out of trailers on the property of Community of Grace Church. She expressed her heart to me, telling me she longed for every child in the community to experience the joy and affirmation of receiving a birthday cake. My heart leapt for joy, knowing that this would be the birth of a beautiful partnership. What does it mean to receive a birthday cake? A cake made especially for you, with your name written on it by a beautiful icing scribe. That's what I'm going to call you. You're my icing scribe. Well, a few weeks ago, I was driving my daughter Katie to school and telling her of this opportunity that was coming up for me to speak to y'all about how the bakery has impacted the community that I love. She exclaimed, "Mom, did you know that cake is a luxury?" A luxury, I thought. She went on to tell me what she was learning in world history about the tale of Marie Antoinette during the French Revolution. Her country was starving. She lived in luxury, never knowing what it felt like to have not. When her people came to her and expressed the crisis in her land, what did she say? Does anybody know? That's right, let them eat cake. She didn't realize that cake was a luxury and assumed that everyone had access to this very familiar item that she enjoyed regularly. This took me back to a time when I was in my mid-20s, and a friend told me that when she was younger, she could not participate in Girl Scouts because her family couldn't afford the uniform. This fully shocked me, and I explained to her, well, at my troop, The uniforms were provided for the girls. I told my mama about it, and she laughed, and she said, Laura, I paid for that uniform. I, like the story of Marie, grew up being accustomed to luxuries that I considered everyday items. For many children in our midst, these everyday luxuries are not a part of their world. Our partnership with Special Needs and Treats satisfies the oh so poignant hunger of the heart. There is a profound beauty in saying to a mama, a daddy, a grandparent raising grandchildren, or other vested caregiver, I see that Amy, Joseph, Katrina, Dion, or 1,000 other names has a birthday this month. Would you like a certificate for an amazingly yummy and personalized cake from Special Needs and Treats Bakery? You see, if you want a straight shot of loving care to the heart of a mama, then do something special for her children. Can I get an amen, mamas? Amen. And daddies. But allow her to do it herself. Give her the ability. Give it to that mama. She knows best how to fulfill her role. She will call in her order, receive her cake, and walk it through her front door in her arms for her baby. This is the heart of the co-op. For every person that enters our door to understand their worth and their value, that they matter enough that we as a community will not only strive to satisfy the hunger of their stomach, we are also honored to value the hunger of their heart. I give God the glory for Michael and for Tempa and ask him to give them the strength to pour themselves out just as they pour batter from bowls, allowing them to continue to make a difference in our community.
Thank you, Miss Laura. Thank you. Love you. All right, we're going to probably wrap up the silent auction in about the next 10 to 15 minutes, but it's time to have a little bit more fun as well, so feel free if you need to take a break, go on out. We're going to wrap through some things, but those of you who looked at your programs earlier that had the little stickers in them, we need to kind of get some of this fun stuff taken care of as well. So if you had some orange stickers, there should be 3 of them out there somewhere. There's a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3. They're on the wish list page. I kind of did that intentionally so you could see what our wish lists are and what those might run. But we've got number 1, 2, and 3. If you want to come up here, I'm going to ask Josh to meet you at the stairs. We've got number 1 is a $30 Amazon card. Number 2 is about a $25 gift certificate for some sweets. And number 3 is the same. So Josh, would you mind taking these right here? And then we're going to go ahead and jump into...
Hermes. Yay.
Hey, Matt. All right, and then we're also going to go ahead and grab, back there it looked like it was like some other color. But you should have a yellow 1 and a yellow 2. We've got a couple of $50 gift certificates up here for you to come collect. So, Josh, here's the yellow ones. And then, since we're having so much fun, and we're about to close that auction out, just to entice you with a little bit more fun stuff, there's some red tickets. We kind of saved some of the best for last here, it looks like. If you've got a red 1, 2, 3, or 4, number 1 and 2, Mr. Ryan Brooks, who was scheduled to be our MC since last October, called me Tuesday night in tears and said, dude, we got a problem. I said, and my heart sank. I wanted to, what's the best word I should use? I don't want to use you just ate, but pray. Yeah, I didn't want to pray. I wanted to use another P word. But anyway, he said, dude, I'm so sorry. I got a contract. It's been paid for. I can't get out of it. I don't know what happened with my computer and why it was gone. He was so upset. And I told him, I said, dude, I'm driving. I got to get groceries. I haven't eaten yet. I haven't home. Let me get home. Let me call you. Thought about it all the way home. Called him. I said, dude, I know you didn't plan this. you wouldn't leave us like this. I love you. God knew this would happen. So we'll roll with it. And then Josh Frazier, who's been helping us out tonight. Thank you,
for
Josh.
stepping
Love you
up,
too,
Josh.
brother.
We love you too.
He stepped in with literally 2.5 days notice and said, I'll try and help you out. And I'm like, well, this is my first gig too, so if we screw it up, we don't know we haven't done it before. So, but what we have is the red 1, 2, 3, and 4 if you'd come up. But Ryan Brooks, the reason I said that is Mr. Ryan is an incredible,
Number 1.
he makes some really great farm tables and custom projects with wood. We have 2 $250 gift certificates from Ryan for a project.
Yeah.
So number 1 and number 2 red, we've got that. And then one of our buddies here, I serve with him, Justin Wojak. Anybody knows Wojak knows how crazy he is. But red number 3, we've got a free mini session with his 375 photography, valued at $150. So, oh, Miss Donna. There you go. I'll take care of this one, Josh. I got it. Yeah,
And do you have number
you're
4,
busy.
Steve?
And then number 4.
Oh, no, he got one of Ryan's. Awesome.
Red number 4. I know it might not seem like much, but you got some cakes, you need some cupcakes, you got an event coming up. We thought we'd throw in a $100 gift certificate for some goods from us as well. So, little something just to also say thanks back. Hey, Caroline. I didn't even get to hug you earlier. Not that I'm a hugger or anything. You guys, Caroline here, I'll just give a quick plug. There's some Gladiators signed stick and jerseys. You really don't want to bid on them, but out there that Caroline works for the Gladiators. She embraced us. She's done nonprofit nights for us. So sorry I didn't plug all of our sponsors, but you came up with a winner, so you got the lucky ticket. Love you, girl. But it's got an awesome little buy it now feature on there. It's like, you know, you can bid like $65, $80 or something, but if you buy it now for $25,000, you help us put in a walk-in freezer. Now, I don't know, there's a chicken coop out there too, so the chickens need a house, but our house, we kind of showed you what the buy it now is there as well, which, you know, if you haven't seen it yet, go out there, let's see how you react to that. But what we want to do is, you know, I know we're a little over time. Are y'all still good with me? We're going to try and wrap it up. We're not going to try and drag this out. That was kind of limited handshake or hand clap, so we'll try and wrap it up here pretty quickly. But a big portion of what we do, not only with the co-op, was we developed partners with the foster care system. So I've got 2 quick videos. I believe they're faster than Austin's long-winded one, but that's all right, Austin. You're all good, brother.
He's on the register.
He's out there on register checking stuff out, so he couldn't hear me. That's good. But we've got 2 quick videos from foster parents. We'll take a quick peek at what it might mean to those foster parents.
Hi, I'm Ashley Sotomayor. My family is a foster family through Uniting Hope for Children. And one of the things that we loved about Special Needs is that their nonprofit side, they donate cakes to foster children. So the children that have come into our home and have celebrated birthdays, I haven't had to worry about getting them a cake. Every year they would just call and say, it's time, you can call Special Needs. The cake was always ready. And one of the great things about kids with special needs is that they were able to provide cakes to these kids who may not have received a birthday cake ever, you know. And they do this for all the kids that are in foster care through their partnership with Uniting Hope for Children. As a family, it was just really great because we were able to celebrate, like for our son who we have now adopted, for each of his birthdays there was that pressure, his first birthday, that I've got to make this right. He's not my son, but I want to make sure I do his mom justice and his birthday for his first birthday. And it was just always great to know that the cake was there and we could offer it to the bio family as, hey, here's, you know, come have cake. And it was always good. And just the party, you know, we kind of centered it around that with the family. So it was just, it made his birthday special for him too. And his mom, yeah.
All right, Angela, I'm going to post your video on our website. And we're going to get you in there, and thank you for what you did. We have another foster mom that's here tonight.
And it was because of Angela, though, because we went to church with them. And me and Mike were driving to Restaurant Depot one day, and I said, Mike, I said, you know, Angela and them, I said, they're fostering. And I said, foster kids, I said, they need cakes too. And I called Angela and I asked her, I said, Angela, who can I get in contact with? How can we do this? So you are my inspiration for the foster carers. Thank you so much.
But if you want to see those videos, we're going to try and get things posted on the website. I'm also the IT guy, so my website kind of sucks a little bit, so we're looking for help there too. But what I'd like to do now is I do want to give an opportunity. We've got one more speaker that we're going to, it was 2014. Joseph, if you'd start making your way up here. I just want to introduce Joseph. Matter of fact, Joseph Crimes started for us in, it was 2014, October of 2014. And I do want to just make a brief introduction to Joseph. He actually had an opportunity a couple months ago to basically give the sermon at his church at Well. But Joseph is one of our front guys. And main job there is customers come in and he takes care of that. But I'm going to give him a chance to make an introduction for Joseph.
Let's see here. Trust me, if I had a third hand, I'd use it. So, well, my name is Joseph. Let's see, I've worked at special needs for almost 6 years, I think. 5. I'm horrible. Anyways, but I've worked with them for a long time. I was born with arthrogryposis multiplex congenita, with bilateral dislocated hips and club feet. It's a physical condition, or actually 3 physical conditions. I also suffer from post-traumatic stress, stemming from multiple surgeries when I was 6 weeks old up until I was 5. I man the front counter, like Mike and Tippa said. Fridays and Saturdays, 11:30 to 5. I also like to play court jester and local fool. Act crazy and whatnot. My first day of volunteering for the bakery, I brought in a stool to sit on, kind of like the one that's right over there. Not the same one, but similar. I was scheduled to volunteer the following week, but I didn't show up until 6 months later. The reason being, I actually wound up the day after with appendicitis, and I was out for 6 months. And when I came back in, and if you're wondering where I'm headed with this, I have a point, trust me. 6 months later, I walked back in and I was really embarrassed. I even pulled up my shirt to show them the scars, give them proof. I was afraid they weren't gonna let me volunteer anymore. Instead, they told me that, glad you're okay, and are you working today? It's like, heck yeah. And funny thing about that is they hadn't even moved my stool from where I had left it that first day of volunteering. It was still there. They could have gotten rid of it, but they kept it. After volunteering some more, Mike flagged me and my parents down while we were heading out to our car and asked if I wanted to be an employee. And to make a long story short, I've worked there, like I said, for almost 5 years now. This is the first job that I've had that I enjoy coming into work. I've worked at 3 other jobs. Those were through Voc Rehab. And this one is by far the best. I enjoy interacting with the customers, something that I never thought that I would find enjoyable. The days when I wake up and don't feel like working, but decide to come in anyways, I'm very glad I did. It's a very different feeling from the other 3 jobs I had. Every day's been fun. When I got my first car, Mike and Timpa congratulated me. When I had my first car accident, it threw me for a loop. I was scared, I was crying, and I asked Mike for a hug, and he hugged me. When I had another surgery, two of my discs on my spine herniated, and they had to be removed and replaced. Mike and Timpa prayed with me, even though they knew that I had post-traumatic stress dealing with the hospital and things like that. They even prayed for me when Little Joe, my first dog that was like a child to me, died. This job has become a family to me. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I would hope that you would continue to allow us to do what we do. Like Austin said, I have fun coming into work. So, anyways, thanks.
Thank you, Joseph. All right, guys, apologize. This was our first time. We've got to work on that timing. I'm sure it's all me. I got big shoulders. I take responsibility for everything. So what we're going to do now is we would love to share with you all outside of here, through our website, through everything else. I actually have 2 more videos that I would love you to see. They're not that long. We are going to close the silent auction down, I believe, in, 4 minutes? Am I correct, Sean? Perfect. So 4 minutes, silent auction is going to close. But what we have is one more video from one of our volunteers, and then a little message from his parents. I do have Ian's been here working. His mother did a video for us as well. I'm going to try and post these on our website. Again, I'm the IT guy, so hopefully I'll get that right. But if you take a look at these last 2 videos, and then I'll have a couple of closing statements so we can hopefully get you out of here.
Thanks for hanging with us,
Thank you for
guys.
hanging
We
with us,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Freeland, and I'm a staff member here at Special Needs and Treats. I started working here at around 2017, mid-September, October. Some of the things I do here are I just stand behind one of the counters here and take the orders of any customers that would walk in and place an order. Then I would fill those orders and bring them over to the cash register and just bring them out. I also run their Facebook page, so to speak. I'm what they call a media specialist here. Other than that, I just do whatever they want me to do, or need me to do, rather. How do I put this into words exactly? I'm just, like I said, working here is the best decision I've made.
Well, I'm Amy Freeland.
And I'm Doug Freeland.
And our son, Jonathan Freeland, he likes to be called JD, works here at Special Needs and Treats Bakery. We actually came to visit Special Needs and Treats when it had its storefront in Lawrenceville several years ago. soon after it opened, and absolutely loved the cupcakes and the treats, and then learned more about the mission. And their mission is just really incredible. The heart that Tempa and Michael have for special needs population in the community of Gwinnett County and beyond, really, is just really touching and amazing. And we thought, not only is the food awesome here, but also their mission's fantastic, and maybe this is a place that JD could come and work when he's out of high school. And so we asked to have JD's name put on the waiting list, and JD graduated from high school, and 4 years later, Doug got a phone call.
Yes, he had percolated his way up to the near the top of the list and came in and interviewed, and has been a great opportunity for JD, and it's been a great opportunity for the family to be able to not only have the constant battle of our waistline with all the food that we bring home from the bakery, but also to see JD grow and become the person that he's become today. So it's been a great opportunity.
So JD has, when we ask him, where would he like to work? Would you like to work at, this particular store, maybe this restaurant? He has said in the past, no, I really like Special Needs and Treats Bakery because I feel like it's home. They understand me here, they are patient, and it really is just such a special place, not just because of their treats and the things that they make, but also their heart that they have for people in their community. So we share Tempa and Mike's vision for the Special Needs and Treats Bakery, and we really want to work with them to reach more people in the community and to expand the bakery in the way that the Lord sees is in the future for them. And so anything that we can do, from a gala to a bowling event to just spreading the word about the bakery, is we're happy to do it, and we hope that you can get on board with us as well and come down, have a treat, but then also get involved in the mission, get involved in the bakery any way that you are able to.
And that, if you didn't get a chance to see them earlier when they got their superhero capes, that's two of our superheroes.
Well, I'm Amy Freeland.
And I'm Doug Freeland.
Got it. All right, so thank you all for coming. Thank you all for this. They're closing out the silent auctions now. There's just a brief last piece that I want to share is the bigger future vision of, we envision the place we are now as production and training, and that from that it would be used as the centerpiece to have little storefronts in all the cities around us, where once the special needs are trained at our location, they can go work closer to home, and we would distribute out from where we are now, and create that template. The lower functioning can still work with us where we're at now and support that as a push out. And then once that template is completed, the vision we've kind of done, I joked with her when we passed a Walmart distribution center that you see those 547 docked doors. What if those all said Special Needs and Treats trucks? But really using that as a template to where then we could come out of Gwinnett County, go to Walton County, Forsyth County, every county around us, and then even other states. So that's the bigger vision. Next year, we'll have this timed better. This was our first, and as Ken opened up, we had 3 months to plan, 2 months of which were our busiest seasons of the year. It's like, thanks, board. But look what happened. So you guys are a huge part of that. Thank you so much for this. I think Josh has another real quick fun piece. I see a lot of envelopes back there, but hey, we're going to keep plugging away. The waiting, it'll happen all the way God intends it, and we give our biggest thanks to God. But Josh?
All right. So listen, I started out the night with you guys filling out this form. I said it was time sensitive and it's something important. So a lot of you guys who did this filled out this slip. We took off the ticket, and there's some of you guys who are tonight, 4 of you guys are going away with a cake. So I just randomly drew some, actually drew my name out of it, and I put that back. So I don't want it. Crystal, sorry about that. So here we go. If I butcher your name, I apologize. But come up here, get this ticket, and go grab one of those cakes. Dot, Desgarden? Am I saying it right? Where's Dot? Where's Dot? Yes. Okay. All right. There it is. Boom. There it is. Okay. Cool. Perfect. Shelly Anglin. Anglin. Am I saying that? Shelly. Yes. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. I butchered your last name. I'm so sorry. I know your last. All right. And then Susan Whitfield. Yes. Susan Whitfield. Yes. Okay. All right. Cool. Perfect. All right. Right there. And then Carrie Souls. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Fantastic. You guys are going to go home with a incredible cake. Now listen. I know Ken kind of opened us up tonight, and so I want Ken to kind of come up here to kind of close us here tonight. Give that to the lady, the sweet lady behind you. Yes. All right.
Careful there. No, I'm having knee surgery in a month. We're good. Everybody stand up. Shake your legs. I'm so sorry you stood here this long, but let me tell you, this man goes on, and I apologize. I love him. He gave his testimony at Graystone one time. It lasted 45 minutes. So I want to end it. We won't let him talk anymore. We're trying to close this night out so we can go home and watch TV and go to bed. Guys, it's all about, the last thing I want to say is I love Jonathan. He knows I listen to his things. There's a time to pray, and there's a time not to pray. And you don't know what I mean by that. Time to pray is when your wife comes home and goes, I think we need to adopt a child. This is when you already have 5 children. That's the time to pray. Luckily, I was reading Crazy Love by Francis Chan, and it hit me, so we did. Not to pray. If you have it, give it, guys. We're sitting here. We're about to leave. Money's what we need. I love you guys to death. I'd love to take you to lunch. We need your money, no matter what you have. So if you don't have to pray about it, if you need to go home and pray about $100, $1,000, $100,000, or $1 million if you're out there, we'll take it. But if you're here tonight and you can afford 100, you can afford 200, and it's nothing you don't have to pray about, leave it here. That's all I'm asking. Give you money. We love you, and we appreciate you coming, and have a safe trip home.
Thank you.